So today is the first day I start reading my book Parker in these videos. Yeah, it should be pretty interesting. I haven't read the entire book out loud, so that'll be a new experience. Yeah, so I guess today I like sharing my words with the world. Anyone willing to listen? Yeah, so don't really know how to do this. I thought I might like set the camera down because I'm old school like that and I use a camera. Yeah, I thought I might just like set it down somewhere. Oh my goodness. It's March 1st. Supposed to have a new background today. Completely forgot. Alright, well that makes everything even more complicated. Let me think about this. I'm supposed to be over there. I guess either way I'm supposed to like hold this camera because there's like nowhere else to put it. Yes. Give me a moment. Alright, so welcome to the new background. This is completely awkward and weird. Yeah, such a hassle. But anyways, so now we have some more MCR. There's like Silverstein behind me and Sweeney Todd. And a little tiny picture of my hero, Dustin Lance Black. I still want him to direct Parker. Oh, that would be awesome. Okay. So, I guess I have to start reading now. Not sure how completely awkward this is gonna be. I guess we'll see. Alright, so Parker is dedicated to Daniel, Miss Gloria Hay, and that kid. That kid meaning any kid who feels like Parker. Acknowledgements. Okay. Thank you to Daniel Hofstede for being my first reader and providing the opinion I trust the most, for always reading every revised version of the same sentence and never complaining, for your continued support and love when I needed it most, and for believing in me, and also for the perfect choosing of Liam's name. Thank you to Rob Bruce for reading the very first version, editing all my mistakes, and giving me your honest opinion. Thank you to my family and friends for your support and encouragement throughout this process. Thank you to Miss Gloria Hay, my second grade teacher, for writing a note in the back of a story I wrote and read to the class. I think it subconsciously stayed with me until I was ready to use it. Thank you to everyone at iUniverse, for without self-publishing I would still be out looking for someone to take a risk with me. But most importantly, the story is for those who are going through hard times and feel that they have no one who will understand or support them. It's for those who feel alone, different, or judged for being who they are. It's for those who feel they don't have the support of their family, friends, church, school, or society. It's for anyone who is in a similar situation or is thinking about suicide. Please open up and talk to someone that you trust. You are never alone. Some great resources. I listed Kids Help Phone, 1-800-668-6868. The Trevor Project. You can find them at thetrevorproject.org, or the phone number is 866-488-3666. 7386. And there's the It Gets Better project at itgetsbetter.org. Okay. I will list those resources in the description of every video until we're finished. Okay, so chapter 1. Make sure this is actually recording. And it is. Okay. Chapter 1. My parents thought I was suicidal, so they sent me to see a psychologist. Okay, I guess they knew I was suicidal. When you end up in the hospital after slitting your wrist, it doesn't question whether you're suicidal or not. It's obvious. Along with the social worker and the events that followed, it led me to talk about a lot more feelings than I initially thought I had. It also helped me to figure out some stuff. I think I've always had some degree of abandonment issues, but I guess that's just implied when you're an orphan. Or at least, I used to be. Maybe that's where everything stems from. My biological parents dropped me off at St. Catherine's Orphanage when I was born. I was told they couldn't afford to keep me. All you need is love, right? That place was my home for a really long time, until my new, and as far as I'm concerned, real parents found me, and I learned what real love truly feels like. For as long as I can remember, whenever I felt alone or bored or angry or anything really, I would hide away from everyone else and draw. It was my escape. So most of my time was spent in my bedroom, drawing in my sketchbook and listening to music, and thinking about him. This is the aftermath that is my life, with all the conversations I had along the way still living inside my head. On the corkboard above my dresser, there's a photo of my best friend and me. It was taken at a sleepover last year, and he has this huge, genuine smile on his face because my dad, behind the camera, is making him laugh. I'm smiling back at him, but there's a distant look in my eye that isn't in his. He's never questioned me on this. Around the photo are snapped wristbands from the neighborhood pool and art galleries, a ticket stub from the first concert we ever went to downtown by ourselves. He has the other one. And a handful of leaves we found in the park one day last summer. They've dried up now, but he likes seeing them when he comes over because it reminds him that summer is coming again, so I keep them up. The sky this evening is a dark blue, streaked with a luminous pink. The clouds seem to be retiring, and they create a purple hue as they become sparser and sparser. I try to recreate the image on canvas, with my watercolors bleeding into one another, while the light is still available. This one will hang in my mom's office at work. There wasn't a drop of rain in the city today, which is too bad because I love it when it rains. Every time one of us sees that it's about to start spitting, he calls the other, and we go biking just to get caught in the showers. It's become an unwritten tradition. While I'm painting, the birds perch at the top of the window, aware that I'm finished with them, take off and soar across the street to the neighbor's rooftop. The window is great for people watching, or as Liam calls it, spying. We've been guilty on many occasions. From downstairs, Mom yells that dinner is ready. "I'll be right down," I yell back. On my bed, my notebook is flipped open to a previous drawing. I'd gotten sidetracked by the sky and traded in my pencil for a paintbrush. I grab it quickly and hide it out of sight in my desk drawer. Beautiful symphonic Brit prog rock fills my room before I turn it off, grab a hoodie from the hook on my door, and run downstairs. "What are you working on up there?" Mom asks as I slide in at the table. "I need painting," I tell her. The sky was too interesting not to copy. "Do you want it?" "I'll make room in my office," she says with a smile. "How was school today, Park?" Dad asks me, steering me away from a topic I love to a topic I hate. "How did the science exam go?" "It was okay," I say with a shrug. I studied all night and really tried, but I'm pretty sure I just failed again. I'd rather just be drawing or something. "You're gonna make a great artist someday," he says, "but don't forget about school just yet." He pauses for effect and then hands me a flyer he was keeping in plain view on the table. He does this act as if he'd completely forgotten that he staged it there for this exact purpose. I saw the paper on my way in. "By the way," he says nonchalantly, "I found this lying on the sidewalk when I was walking home from work." Stealth, Dad. My dad is really into being environmentally friendly, so he takes the bus or rides his bike to work every day, and he sees interesting things all the time. Taking the piece of paper from him and reading it over, I see it's for the art contest at school. I thought you might want to enter. It's in 2 weeks, which doesn't give you a lot of time, but I know you're working on something in your art class right now, aren't you? He asks. I break my gaze away from the flyer and look over at him. Yeah, I am. Thanks, Dad. We smile at each other, and then he looks over at Mom. What happened today with the Hendersons? He asks her. The paper stares at me from the table. I've known about the contest for a while, but I wasn't sure whether I should enter. I've been working on my charcoal drawing at school for months now, so I guess I might as well. They talk to themselves about work as I stare at them, with my elbow on the table and my head in my hand. My adopted parents, Mark and Sarah Knight, couldn't have kids of their own. After years of unsuccessful fertility treatments and the final realization, they found me. It was just 6 weeks before I turned 12. I don't know exactly why they chose me. I've never really asked. I've just been grateful that they did. Pretty much from the very beginning, I've called them Mom and Dad because that's just what they are to me. Interrupting my thoughts, Dad asks, "Don't you think so?" I look up at him with a face that says, "I obviously have no idea what you're talking about." "Oh yeah," I say. He smiles at me with his approving face. Apparently I agreed with him. They go back to talking among themselves. I'll always think of them as my real parents. Dad cuts into my thoughts again. "We were thinking," he says, "that you could invite Liam to Kelowna for spring break." "Seriously?" I ask, already thinking about the fun things we could do on my grandparents' vineyard in the country. "Yeah, we thought it would be good for you to bring someone," Mom says. "Thanks, I'll ask him tomorrow," I say, excessively excited. I love visiting my grandparents in Kelowna, but whenever I go, I always end up kind of bored because there's no one my age to hang out with. I have a few cousins, but sometimes they're not there. They're also all girls. So when they are there, we always disagree on what to do. I think it's fun that I have longer hair than the boys they know, but getting a makeover and having my hair in curlers is not exactly my idea of vacation. Spring break is next week, and most people already have plans, so I hope Liam doesn't. He hasn't talked about any plans, at least. In the kitchen after dinner, Mom walks in as I'm drying my hands by the sink. She stops suddenly and looks at my wrists. I slowly look down at my shoes as I pull down my hoodie sleeves, hiding them so she can't look at them anymore. When I look back at her, she's giving me this look she always does when she's terribly sad or worried, and tears are piled high in her eyes. I toss the dish towel on the counter and touch her hand. My mom is a real estate agent, and she's also the kindest person I know. When I first came to live here, she hardly worked because she wanted to be here whenever I was home, to take care of me and get to know me. But as I've gotten older, I've had to tell her that it's okay that she works. She never lets me forget that she loves me. "It's okay, Mom," I reassure her. "I know they'll always be there. But they're just scars now." She takes in a deep breath and pulls me towards her in a tight hug. I smile while being smothered in her embrace. "I love you," she says. "I love you too." When she releases me, she takes one last look and then lets me go. I run up to my room to get started on my really late homework. After a shower, I stare at myself in the mirror. I have skinny arms and my ribs stick out under translucent skin. My brown hair is slightly wavy and falls a little past my jawline. I run my hands through it as I stare at my face and green eyes. Everything about me looks like a normal 16-year-old until you get down to my arms. I turn my gaze to them in the mirror. Scars cross both wrists on both arms, as if one just wasn't enough. When I look at myself, it feels as if they take over my whole appearance. They're the only thing I see when I'm not wearing hoodies. I stare at my face again. I sat slumped in a black chair in front of my social worker, who sat with her right leg crossed over her left in another black chair across from me. We were in a white room with a window and stuffed animals piled up in a toy box. She had her dark hair pulled back into a ponytail that day. She asked questions and wrote in a book. "And how is school going, Parker?" she asked. Outside the window, there was no questioning. I wanted to be out there. School is fine, I answered. I looked up at her then. She was already looking at me. Her name is Clara Hampton, and she works for the adoption agency, checking in with my parents and me every now and then. The questions are pretty standard every time. She just makes sure my parents aren't abusing me and that I feel safe and loved. Basic stuff like that. These social visits usually last about half an hour, and then I'm free from interrogation. It's fine, I added. Good, and how's home? She wrote secrets down in her notebook. Is there anything you'd like to talk about? No, not really. Home's good. It was the truth for the most part. Good. Would you like to talk about the cuts on your wrist now? She said it calmly and bluntly as she stared me down. I looked at my winter pale arms resting on my lap. Once again, I'd made the mistake of rolling up my sleeves. I tend to do that a lot. However, it was a bigger mistake back then when nobody knew about what I had done. I pulled them back down and looked at the well-worn beige carpet as I tried to think of something to say. Any lie would do. Oh, I scratched them on the rake in the garage, I lied. It was hanging on the wall and I wasn't paying attention walking up the stairs. Wow, there couldn't have been a worse lie than that. Both of them? She asked, unconvinced by my obvious lie. I shuffled in my chair to avoid the eye contact that was being forced on me. Clearly, and I don't blame her after that disaster choice of words, she didn't believe me. What are they really from, Parker? She didn't give up. This is a safe place. You can tell me whatever is on your mind. I shuffled in my chair some more. How could I possibly have told her what was on my mind? I found a strand of hair to play with, took a deep breath, and held it for a minute. The room felt hot. I could jump out that window if it were open, I thought. I eyed her suspiciously. At that moment, I knew she knew what I had done. So, what was the harm in saying it out loud? How do I know you won't say anything? I asked her. Anything you say is confidential. It's strictly between us. Even my parents? I asked. I felt her hesitate for a moment before saying, if I thought that something was really wrong, we would talk about it first. And if I thought it was necessary, we would talk about it with your parents here. Do I let it get that far? I thought. My parents finding out? I took another deep breath and finally decided. I did it, I said. Even though I knew I was going to, I was still surprised to hear myself admit it. I cut them. I finished by immediately looking down at my beat-up chucks and waited for the lecture on the value of life and all that. She was still staring at me. Her left leg now crossed over the right, her head tilted slightly, and a notebook and pen ready to take down everything I had to say. I guess I just get sad sometimes. No, sad isn't the word. I get depressed. I want to die sometimes. I was suddenly spilling everything and I couldn't stop. She continued to take everything very calmly. What makes you sad, Parker? She asked. I opened my mouth to speak. There's a knock on the door and my mom's voice interrupts my memories. I'm still standing in the bathroom, still staring at myself. Are you ready for bed, Park? She asked from the hall. I look at myself for a moment longer and then walk out. She's waiting for me by the banister. Good night, darling, she says, hugging me. Good night, Mom, I say. I kiss her on the cheek and go to my room. Okay, so that was chapter 1. I got cut off because I had, even though I cleared my memory, made sure there was enough room, I still, there was just too many little clips of me trying to get ready. So, yeah, got cut off, but that's okay. I'll try to make a flow, or will have tried, because by the time you watch this, it'll all be finished. Yeah, so I hope you liked it. I've never, read it out loud before, only parts of it to myself. Yeah, so I will list those resources in my description. And if anybody has like a comment or a question or something about the chapter or anything, leave a comment or private message me, YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or anything really. I also have the chapters on fictionpress.com right now, so you can read them there and you can listen to them here. Yeah, chapter 3 just went up today, and I'm going to be putting a chapter up every Friday for the next, like, 19 weeks. Yeah, so hope you guys liked it. This is, like, the first, like, really big thing I ever written. Yeah. So if I make this video any longer, it's going to take 7,000 hours to upload. So thank you guys for sticking with me for this very long video. And I will see you tomorrow for chapter 2. Bye guys.